Hello everyone, welcome to the Yarny New Girl podcast. I'm Janine and this is my little channel where I just talk to you guys about all the knitting and crafty stuff that I am getting into. So today is June 22nd and we are officially into summer. Yay for that. However, the weather here is kind of it hasn't quite decided, I should say, that it wants to be summer. It gets nice, and then we've been having a lot of these overcast days, and then thunderstorms, and so it's very muggy, and it feels like not, those clear summer days that you're hoping for. But school is out, and my kids are home, so that usually makes the podcasting effort a little bit more difficult. But we're just going to go with it. Currently, they are playing video games, but I've told them to put a timer on, and hopefully when they're done with the timer, I've also told them to go outside and enjoy themselves because it's not super hot today. It's actually a perfect day for being outside. So I hope that you all are well, and it's a beautiful summer day or whatever day it is. I hope it's beautiful and you're enjoying yourself, because I guess if you're in the other hemisphere, it could be a beautiful winter day. Maybe it's snowing somewhere across the globe from me. So today, like I said, is June 22nd. I am a little behind on the podcast again, but I'm catching up. I am not quite at 3 weeks. I'm about 2.5 weeks, so maybe I'm going to get to 2 weeks next time. I just feel like everything has gotten... There's just been so much going on. I've been working at my regular job a little bit more. We've been going away on the weekends because it's been nice. So we've been camping, and so there's been, just life. You guys understand, I'm sure. You know that there are times in your lives when things just feel a little bit more hectic and you just can't sit down and do the things that you want to do. But I'm here today, so I'm very excited about that. And I do have some new things to show you guys, and some maintenance stuff or like housekeeping stuff to talk about. I did pick a winner of the Taste of Spring Cowl, but I'm going to wait and talk about that at the end because I have some more giveaways I want to discuss. And I want to discuss the knit along that's going on, but I think I'm going to do that all at the end. I'll just try and see how that goes. So we'll just jump right into content stuff. So I do have a half object and a couple finished, I'm going to call them finished objects. They're not, they're my blocks for my blanket. So they're not quite, the blanket's not finished, but the blocks are finished. And I think that counts. So my half object is my plain vanilla sock. The yarn is Mustache Sheep, and it is in the apple picking colorway. And this is, I did on US size zeros, and I think I did about a 2x2 rib, and I did about 20 rows. I wanted to just make sure I got through the first striping repeat. And then I used Hermione's Everyday heel for the pattern. And yeah, just standard toe decreases and Kitchener at the bottom. So I have one. I can't find my sock blocker, so this is the way you guys get to see it. It's kind of loosey-goosey. It's pretty tight, which I'm kind of excited about. We'll see how that fits when I get the other one going. Sometimes my vanilla socks get very saggy, like they don't have enough elastic or something in them, stretch back. So this has quite a bit of tight gauge, so I'm thinking that will work really well. I have not yet cast on the second, and part of the reason is because I've been lazy and I just haven't caked up the skein, but I made sure and I caked up the skein this morning. So, and I think I've got it set where if I pull from the center, I'm going to get the same color repeat here. So that's, I think that'll work. And even if it was opposite, I'd be okay with that, but I think I set it up correctly to pull from the center and have that actually matching. I do have a little bit of the yarn from the first ball left over. These are 50-gram balls. It's on the Must Match sock base. And so I do have a little bit left over. I was thinking I might be able to do my sister some shorty socks if I did like a contrasting heel, cuff, and toe. So I have to kind of weigh it out. I know that if I wanted to, I could just do a bigger toe, you know, or a bigger cuff, and it'd be no big deal. But so I might actually do toe up just to make sure that I can get through these ones and have enough of this, and then I can just add cuff of a different color if I want to. And I did actually get an outline of her foot the last time she was here. So for the Fish Lips Kiss heel, if you guys haven't seen these are the Fish Lips Kiss heel has you do a cutout of the person's foot and do some certain measurements and things like that. And so then you know this is where you start your toe decreases, or if you're doing like a toe up sock, this is where you stop your toe increases. And when you get to here, this is where you put in your heel. So it's got directions for all that stuff. So I've got her foot cut out, and I've done another pair of socks for her. I did that with these ones. So I think I will probably do this with some contrasting. I've got some minis, and I'm sure I've got a mini that will match. And even if I did a bunch of fun like scrap heels, cuffs, and toes, I think that would look really cute. So yeah, she saw the yarn and she was just like, I have to have those. Please, please make me a pair of socks. And you guys know, if you've watched me long enough, I'm really not good at making stuff for other people. So it might be a year and then she'll get that pair of socks. So we'll see. But it is on the radar, and I will, you know, be hopefully doing that for her. So anyway, that is this is one of my favorite little drawstring bags that I made. It's just cupcake fabric that I bought when Hancock Fabric was going out of business in my neighborhood. They had this beautiful cupcake fabric, and I bought it, and I was able to make a couple bags out of it, and I have like none left. I think it's all gone. But anyway, that's like my favorite drawstring bag. I carry that one with me all over the place. The next things, I finished 2 new squares for my crochet blanket. This is the Charlotte's Dream blanket by Dedri Uys. I think that's how you say her last name. She is a blogger, I believe, under Look What I Made is her blog. And I've got 2 new squares. So the last time I told you guys I had ordered some knit picks. One of the colors for my blanket is not available still. It says it's going to be coming in 7/13. So I'm going to try and check back around that time and see if I can get some of that. And that one was the Marine Heather. It's the dark blue. Let me show you. So it's this one. So this one apparently is not available. But I was able to get more of all the other colors. So what I'm working on now, and I still have one skein of this dark blue, which I might be able to get the center at least for one other square out of that. Maybe even 2 centers. I don't know. I haven't weighed how much these end up. The crochet just eats up a ton of yarn. So especially when you're doing like big baubles and stuff like this. So I know I won't be able to use do another outer set of blue, but I might be able to do some inner squares. So for now, I am just doing all the other colors and all their squares as much as I can without the blue. So right now I started out, because I have 4 colors, I'm going to have a 3x4 blanket. So there are 12 squares, and that's what the pattern calls for. It is a free pattern, if I didn't say that already, and it has a great YouTube tutorial by It's in a Nutshell or something. Yeah, it's in a Nutshell is her YouTube channel, and she does a lot of crochet tutorials, and I found this one very easy to follow. So this was my first one with the blue in the center. And so I decided to work, since this one had the blue on the outside, I knew that I could get all 3 of my squares done with this color as the light blue in the center. So I went ahead and made 2 more with the light blue in the center. This is the next one. This one has been blocked. And so this has the light blue, which is the Wonderland heather, and the honey on the outside. And then I was able to do one more in with the light blue, and I finished this morning, so it's not been blocked. It's still a little kind of bunched up, and I haven't woven in the last ends from this last triangle over here. But yeah, that worked out really well. I ran out of yarn, so the blue I showed you guys, and you probably couldn't see very well on camera, but I got a new batch of the Wonderland heather, which is the light blue. And it was slightly different because it was different dye lots, and I kind of expected that because, you know, I hadn't bought all of it. Honestly thought I had enough. I don't know. I haven't made a blanket in so long. I forget how much yarn a blanket takes, and especially a crochet blanket. But I do love crochet blankets like way better than knitting blankets. I've tried now multiple times to start a knitting blanket, and it's just not working because I can't focus on such a big project for that long, and the needles and stuff. So anyway, I ran out of excuse me, frog. I ran out of the blue in the one dye lot just at the very end and had to join. And so you can't even see it. I mean, I can slightly tell, but only because I'm looking. There is a little bit lighter of a blue, like from here to the end, but it really doesn't matter. And the rest of the squares will all have the other blue on the outside, and so I think that should be fine. I'm not concerned at all. So now I have one, two, so those two new ones, 3, just to refresh your memory, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm halfway done. I'm very excited. I think that the next batch I'm going to work on, because I'm going to work in colors, I'm going to try to do these blue ones, I think, because I think I have enough to maybe do both blue in what I have left for the centers, and then I can do one with the coral outline and one with the light blue outline, and then I'll be done with that part, and then I'll just move on. Although I have thought, you know, maybe if the Wonderland or the Marine Heather doesn't come back in, I was thinking I might order some purple. They had a light, like a really pretty heathered purple that I thought would work well with all these colors. So the other thought was maybe I will do all the other ones as much as I can. So like this one with the yellow center, I'll do a yellow center and a light blue. And then I've got this one with the coral center. I'll do a coral center and the yellow, I believe. Yeah, coral center and yellow. And then I can do the centers, these center pieces of these colors as well, and leave them. And then if Marine Heather doesn't come back in, what I was thinking I might do is just start those other ones with the purple. So instead of this outside edge being that dark blue, I would end up doing, or whatever it would be, I would end up doing it in a purple. And then I could just undo. I only have one that has the outside, and I have one that has it on the inside. So I could always undo this blue and add purple instead. And then I could take that one blue one in the center, and if I need to, I can rip that one out. So that's a thought. I'm not sure yet. I have to kind of wait and see if they get that stuff in stock. So I don't really want to rip out anything. I'd prefer just to like do the whole thing, but you never know what's going to happen. If I get done with all those other squares and they haven't got the yarn back in stock, I might just end up ordering something different. We'll see. So that is that project. those are my finished objects, kind of. They're all sort of still works in progress. Sorry guys, nothing like completely finished. But my new shawl design, the Hepzibah Light, is out for testing right now. So I'm very excited about that. I've had one of my testers already complete it and a couple other ones show me their progress. So they're moving right along. I think I gave them until mid part of July, like the 13th or 14th of July, to finish it up. And I have another design in the works. So I'm very excited about this new design because I tried a couple different things and I showed you guys last time. So I'll show you guys that now. So last time when you guys saw this, all I had was this braided, well, I guess it's sort of braided. It's this leaf design edging. So since then, let me find I have got this. So you can't really tell because it's bunched up quite a bit, but it's part brioche. This syncopated brioche, that's when it reverses. And that's the back, I think. And that's the front. So it's got this syncopated brioche here, and then this garter part here. And I'm working the syncopated brioche section and gradually increasing these leaves, and ultimately it will be all leaves across. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out yet with the decreasing and everything, but I really, really like it. So the way this is going to look, the way you would wear it, so this is going to be the edge that's up here, you know, if you're wearing it bibs, I guess handkerchief style. So obviously it's going to be really hard to show you guys this, but it's going to lay where the triangle is going to be the bottom point there. And so you'll have this center, almost like a center line where it's brioche and then it's garter. So I think that's how that's going to end up turning out. I really like it. It's starting to get a much more manageable because if you guys remember, you cast, you do this really long edging, and then you pick up stitches along the selvage edge and you start this. So you're basically starting at the end of your shawl, where most shawls start at the beginning and you only have like 3 stitches or whatever, and then you're increasing. If you're doing an asymmetrical shawl, you're increasing on one side and just kind of going and going. Well, this one is a little bit different, where you start with the big part and you start decreasing. And I think, I'm not sure how big this is going to end up being. I played with the idea of maybe decreasing more frequently, but right now I kind of like the slope. So we'll have to see how it turns out in the finish. And there is some tweaking that I need to do. Like there's a little bit down here that I want to fix the way that worked out, because I think I was just originally going to do these 3 leaves and go up and up and up. But now I think what I'm going to do is just omit that section right there and, you know, moving along there. So I really, really like the way this is coming out. I think it's beautiful. I think that it will be a great piece. So anyway, I hope that you guys like it too. I am also thinking of doing this in 3 colors, where you do and that will be my next one, where I kind of fine tune it. I didn't have to fine tune the Hepzibah Light very much because I had already knit the regular Hepzibah, and so it was just adjusting a pattern. But this is brand new, and so sometimes when you're working on patterns, you end up doing something that you just kind of, at least how I do it, I just sort of go with it and see what happens. And at first I wasn't sure if I even liked this, but the more I worked it, the more I really, really liked it. But I decided, it changed as I went. So I decided that I need to omit this portion here so that you just have these leaves. and then this one leaf, and then you see it as you have this gradual, instead of this weird break right here. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm very excited. I hope you guys like it. It is going to be, obviously it's a little bit more advanced because it has that syncopated brioche. You'll need a lot of stitch markers for this one, just to mark your different yarn, different changes here in the color, so that way you know when you're switching it from a knit to a purl to do the syncopated bit. But I just like it. It kind of reminds me of a checkerboard, and it's very cool. Very excited about this. And this is on my yarn in the Rock and Roll base. The light color is Mother May I. So this, let me pull it out here of the bag. Get a little bit closer and show you guys. So the lighter color is Mother May I, which is this light lavender with flecks of dark purple and pink throughout. I don't know if you can see that very well, but little speckles of that. And then the dark purple is the Hellebore. And now I've stopped, like I was working on this religiously for a week and a half, and then I realized this is how much of the Hellebore I had left. And I realized, okay, well that's because obviously I did this edging. And the edging was, took, I think I want to say 20 to 30 grams. I did weigh it, but I wasn't exact. So that's why I was thinking a third color would be better, or where somebody could do a mini maybe. But I'm not sure, it depends on how much leftover, how big your mini is. So that's why I'm thinking it might need like a 50-gram skein or something for the edging, and then you'll need maybe two 100-gram skeins for the body. But I did have to dye up another hank of this because I can't do much more with just what I have. And I was like I said, I was hoping, I'm decreasing my rows, so it's getting smaller and smaller, but it's not getting small, that small. I mean, I'm gonna run out. So I did dye up another of the Hellebore. And this is, again, all on my Rock and Roll base, which is my sparkle. It is a 20% nylon, 75 superwash, and 5 silver stellina. Superwash merino, and 5 silver stellina. So anyway, that's now that I've got this dyed up and dry and everything, and now it's skeined up or balled up or whatever you want to call it. I'll be ready to go again, so I'm going to jump right into that. That's part of the reason why I busted out a couple more crochet squares. I wasn't really feeling into doing the socks. I did work a little bit on that 70s sweater, so I'll show you guys that. And I did work a little bit on the Shusui. I don't know. I want to say Shushu, but that's not right. It's Shusui or Shusui, something like that. When you look at the spelling, there's no extra H in that second part of it. So, and I always want to add the extra H. So I did work on that too. So I'll show you guys that in a minute. So this is coming soon. Hopefully, might be a little bit more toward the fall, depending on how fast I can crank out this one and then redo another one for the fall or for the final, product. Okay, so next I will show you guys that 70s sweater. I have done a little bit more on this, not a ton, partly because I've been really focusing on that design and really wanting to get that done. But I did finally finish attaching all the edges of the arms. Last time I showed you, I had one arm fully attached, and the second arm was just attached on the back and not attached on the front. So now I have them both attached, and I've knit about 3 inches under the underarm. So it doesn't look a ton different from when you guys last saw it, but it's making progress. It's definitely all together there. And I worked on this actually quite a bit the other day because I ordered some furniture from a well-known store, and I'm not going to say the store because They did a really great job with their customer service and everything. But it was, I was kind of expecting, it's a really, quality furniture place. And so you pay a significant amount of money for some of these things. So I ordered a table and some chairs for our kitchen. I have, my husband is very frugal. He's gotten a lot better as our marriage has kind of gone on, and I've never been a frugal spender. I have been more like fly by the seat of my pants. I want that. I'm impulsive in a lot of ways, and so we do kind of balance each other out quite a bit. Like, he makes me see reason sometimes when, do we really need that? And I kind of rub off a little bit on him and says, hey, we can't take it with us. If we die, it's not, we can't go with it, so let's enjoy ourselves while we're at it. So we kind of have a good balance. But when we were first married, I remember I bought a couch, and I don't know, I think I spent $1,100 on this couch from Lazy Boy or something like that. It was a nice couch, But he thought, because I told him, I said, well, I'm going to go to some consignment stores, and I'm going to look, and then I'm going to go to some other furniture stores. Well, I think all he heard was I'm going to go to some consignment stores, and I'm going to look. And so he was expecting if I buy a couch, it would cost like, $200, $400, Well, I did go to consignment stores, and I didn't find anything that I liked. So I was like, okay, well, I found this couch at Lazy Boy, and it's awesome, and so I ordered it. Well, he freaked out. He was like, oh my gosh, $1,100, you should have called me. And yeah, I should have. So, we've had conversations about, okay, well, at what point is the money limit where you say you have to call? So, we discussed that, but I'm sure everybody out there who's married has had similar situations with their spouses where money can be kind of a touchy subject. So for me, because of his reaction to some of the purchases I've made in the past, and his like, oh my gosh, you're spending how much, I've gotten kind of like a little fearful, I would say, to buy new things, like unless it's absolutely necessary. So we discussed, which is hampering me a little bit because the house needs stuff done with it. But I think sometimes that my husband is fine just living with it the way that it is. It's not unlivable. It's perfectly fine. It might not be the nicest stuff, but it's livable. It's still workable, Who cares if the couch has, scratches all over the arms because the cat got to it, or, those kinds of things. So I decided a couple years back, we talked, and I said, okay, can I just have a house budget, like something that I can be like, okay, I can spend this much each year, and that's how much I can do. And if I don't spend it that year, then maybe I can like roll it over, especially if we need to do a big remodel or something like that. And he was like, okay, that's good. And so like a couple years ago, I used that money to paint the entire interior of our house, except for the upstairs bedrooms. Like, I didn't do this room. But our house has really big, high ceilings, and the front room is gigantic. So gigantic that I do usually put about a 15-foot, 16-foot Christmas tree in the front. It's really big. And then half of it, this big wall is like, the staircase kind of goes like this, and then it turns around and comes up like this. So there's no way that I, in safety, could paint anything like that. No way. So I knew I was going to have to call and hire somebody. And I just figured, if I'm going to do it, I'll do it, have them do the whole downstairs. And part of the reason we needed it repainted was because we had a black lab. He was the best dog ever. His name was Sirius, like Sirius Black in Harry Potter. And honestly, guys, he was huge. He was like 100 pounds, came up to my hip, this big black dog. It was like the perfect name for him. He had this habit of, he'd come out of the bedroom in the morning where we all slept, and he would rub himself along the wall on the way down the stairs. And so he just rub himself along the wall. And labs also, they drool quite a bit. And when he'd shake, his drool would like go everywhere. And so it was getting all over the walls. And the paint that they had used to paint the house was like a flat paint. So if you scrubbed at the wall, I don't know if it was flat exactly, but if you scrubbed at the wall, the paint came off. Like it had no durability to it at all. So it was almost impossible for me to actually like clean the wall. And so along the wall was this big greasy, like, darker area of paint. I mean, it was disgusting. And then throughout the house, there's like splatters of his saliva everywhere. So it really, really needed a new paint job. So I called and I, spent that money on that budget. Anyway, I know that's kind of like out of the blue, but so I've still been very reluctant to kind of spend a lot of money on furniture, even though now I have this budget. Well, I decided I am going to buy a table and chairs because we've had this table and chairs since before we were married. And we've been married now for 15 years and we've been together for 18. So it was like, okay, it's gonna, it's time for a new table and chairs. I had painted it already once. It's just like an oak table, pedestal circle table with a leaf. I painted it to kind of revive it a little bit. That didn't work so well. I used milk or chalk paint, and then I used like the wax to go on the top of it. And I don't think I did a good job. But anyway, whatever. It lasted another couple of years. So we decided we would order this new table and chairs from this other company. And when the chairs got here, so the table hasn't arrived, but the chairs did. And the chairs got here, and 3 out of the 4 chairs were not good. They were like, one of them, the box had been dented and kind of cut. And so where it had been dented, it had dented into the back of the arm of the chair. And it wasn't like a huge deal, but I'd spent a lot of money on these chairs. And I was like, okay, well, that's stupid because I want it to be, you spend like a lot of money. You don't want mistakes or flaws or things like that unless it's meant to be there. Well, none of the other arms had any like dents like that. And you could see the veneer or the wax of the polish had kind of like rubbed off too in the area. So it definitely had gotten gouged. And then 2 of the chairs, the legs were wobbly. And I tried it on multiple places in my house. There's no levelers on the bottom of the chairs. I could have bought some levelers. I could have gone, to the hardware store and got those little, screw-in leveler things. But I was like, again, I spent all this money on these chairs, and why should I have to go and fix them myself to make them work, So I called the company, and I'm like, hey, this is the deal. But the reason I have been knitting on this more is because when I called the company, I had to wait on hold for about 30 minutes. The first 20 minutes, well, maybe longer than that. The first 20 minutes I'm waiting on hold to get to somebody. And I finally get to somebody and they're like, oh, that's the other department. Let me send you over to the furniture department. And so she puts me back on hold for another 25 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh. And the worst part of it is they have elevator music, It's not elevator music. It's kind of like hip happening music on their wait line. But they only have 3 songs and they rotate those 3 songs over and over again. So I was just like, oh my gosh. Well, and when I finally got somebody, she was great and completely no problems. Gonna take care of it. She sent me out 3 new chairs. She was like, are you sure the 4th one's okay? Do you want, me to send just 4 new ones out completely? I'm like, no, the 4th one's fine. It was perfect. It's no big deal. You don't need to send me 4 more chairs. Just 3 is okay. So she's gonna send me the information to return them. Apparently, they're delivered by UPS. I have to now get these chairs to UPS, even though they ship. They give me the shipping labels and stuff. She's like, if you can't get them to a UPS store, if they're too big or whatever, give us a call and we'll take care of it and get a special, pickup. But I'm like, no, I got a big car. I can just put them in the car and get them to UPS. It's no big deal. So she was sending me the return labels. There's 3 chairs. They came in 2 boxes. So 2 chairs per box. I can only fit 2 chairs in a box. I can't fit the 3rd chair in the box. So when I got my return labels, she only sent me 1 return label. Well, 1 return label is only good for 1 box. So I had to freaking call them again and wait on hold again for like a half an hour this morning. It was crazy. And it's like, okay, I never buy stuff. And when I buy stuff, I want it to be, you know, I'm spending money. I want it to be nice. So anyway, it's being all taken care of. She's given me another return label. She's checked on my table. My table's supposed to be scheduled for delivery here soon. The table actually comes, they actually deliver it and move it into your house for you, where the chairs will just come from like a warehouse. So the table will get delivered by people who will set it all up and make sure it's perfect before they leave, and then they take all their trash and stuff with them. So I've had like all this time waiting on hold to work on my That 70s Tee. Long story, but I was really it was just one of those things, like really 3 out of the 4 chairs, not good. And I might have been being a little picky, just a little, about the way that they were. But honestly, I mean, you're supposed to, if you're paying for quality stuff, it should be quality. It should be, you know, if the chair is like $250, it should be a $250 chair with nothing wrong with it. That is just my opinion, but there shouldn't be anything wrong with a $250 chair or whatever it was. I don't know. Anyway, I think, you know, they were like $200 for the chairs, which is a lot of money for chairs. But I was comparing them to my chintzy cheap chairs that are actually like solid wood. They're not cheap chairs, but they didn't cost me very much. And they were like more rickety than my chintzy cheap chairs. So anyway, yeah, that's my little rant. But I did get time to work on this, so that was good. So I've got, you know, just a couple more inches. I'm not being super fast about it. I am going to extend the knit along. So there's a knit along going on for this. I am going to extend it and make it a summer garment knit along. So it can be whipped. So if you guys have summer garments and this is not one of them, that's okay. If you want to join in my giveaway for that, or the knit along for that, please go over to the Ravelry group, which is the Yarn and You Girl podcast group. And under that 70s Tee knit along, I will probably be changing the name, and it will be the summer garment knit along. So, but if you do that 70s Tee, you can enter it twice. So I know there's one gal who's already finished it. So if you want to make sure that you post a second picture in there, then for your second opportunity to win, that'd be great. So anyway, that 70s Tee, it's available on Ravelry, the pattern. It's $7.50, and it's done in fingering weight yarn. The yarn I'm using here is O Loops. It's the Fashion Knot base. I have some of this base in my shop. The color of the speckle here is Through the Trapdoor, and the blue is Spring Skies, and the Fashion Knot is 75 superwash merino, 20 nylon, and 5 gold stellina. So anyway, I like it. I'm excited about it. I've been working away, little bits on it, not in a rush or anything. So that's that work in progress. Then let's see. Oh, I did do my Shusui. That's what I'm going to call it now, I think. Shrug. I worked a little bit on that. I had to kind of refresh my brain on what I was doing because I had not done anything since I last had shown you guys on the podcast. It still isn't great. Like, it's not a ton of progress, but it's basically I've done from here now to here. I'm not quite done with the first section where you do all the arm, all the increases. But I'm getting there. I'm close. I'm very close. The worst part about it was I can't even like show you guys this properly. So the worst part is that I brought it to work one day thinking I'd just be able to pick it up where I left off, and it's really like washing out very badly. But so I did like a whole repeat, and I realized I got it wrong because I didn't have these center yarn overs. The next one had gotten was going to be too far up, and I was not going to have the same spacing between them. So I spent my entire work lunch knitting like one row and realizing it was wrong, and then unknitting tinking the entire back section. So I basically, all the work I had just put into it, I had to undo. And I was really frustrated because I had started it at home and I, done those couple rows. And then when I got to work and realized I made the mistake, I just ended up spending my whole lunch hour just tinking all the way back. But anyway, this is the Shusui Shrug by Suzanne Sommers. It's a brioche garter combination, like shawl shrug thing. And I modeled mine kind of after her colors. This is my yarn. Again, the speckle color is Koi Pond. Let me show you that one. It's a mint base with speckles of orange and black and yellow. And then Mintastic is the background color. So they're very similar, and I wanted that. I didn't want high contrast. But yeah, so I did a little bit of progress on that. Eventually, I think I need to do 14 repeats. And I'm counting your repeats. You can count them by the little holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I'm on the 11th one. So I just have a couple more, and then I move on to the next section. So we'll see. I should be working on that. But again, not working on that one a ton, just kind of casually every once in a while pulling it out just to keep my memory fresh with it, make sure I know what I'm doing. Because, you put something down for too long, then you don't remember what it is that you were doing with it or where you were in the process. And then you have the situation like I had at work where I had to tink everything I had done. So that's that one. I think that's all the knitting. I did work a teeny bit on my latest cross stitch, which is the Into the Jungle monthly knit along from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. So I'm really behind. I'm still working on February's square. Excuse me. Gosh, lots of frogs in my throat today. I think the frog one might be next, actually. Or maybe it's a sign I have to finish. Anyway, so February's is the toucans. So this one is January's with sloth, and this is February, which is the toucans. And so I'm really close actually on those. Very excited. I am going to be giving my mother-in-law hers this weekend. That was the Be Joyful one that you guys saw throughout the last, 6 months or however long it took me. But this one is just kind of going slowly, but it's really a nice sort of distraction, or if my arm is bothering me or whatever, I just do this for a little bit, and it's kind of nice. And the weather and the light is really great now, so it's helping. This is a linen, I think, or Laguana, I don't even know how to say it, but different type of fabric than the Ada cloth that I was doing the other one on. Very more difficult to see where you're supposed to be putting your needle, so I'm having to pay a little bit more attention, but I do really like it. And this one, I'm actually, because there's so many colors in here, I've got a few needles going. I pulled out like 3 or 4 different needles and just have them on my little needle minder. This is from the Floss Candy, which is a shop on Etsy that I bought them from. And I just kind of, if I'm, working on a green, I'll leave the green going. And then, if I finish that section, but the other section's like not until you get over here, I'll just cut that thread, stick it up here, but leave it threaded because threading those needles is a big old pain. However, I did find one of those old-fashioned needle threaders. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but let me show you. This guy, it's like, has this little fish, like little loop, soft wire loop, and you stick that through the eye of your needle and thread the loop that's big here, and then you pull it through the back through the eye of the needle, and it threads it for you. So much easier, because I swear I have been spending sometimes 2 minutes trying to get the thread to go through the little eye in the needle. So I did find one of these. I was excited about that. If you've been watching me on Instagram, I haven't been super active lately. I'm at Yarn and You on Instagram, by the way, if you're interested. But my son, since it's summer vacation, we decided that we were going to try to come up with a tote of things to do when they're bored, because I swear all they want to do is video games, which I get. They're boys. It's like an addiction. It's like knitting for me, probably. I fully admit I have an addiction to knitting. So we decided that on Monday, the first Monday after school was out, we went to Craft Warehouse and we went to the bookstore and a couple different places to kind of pick up some ideas for this tote that is going to have all these activities in it for the summer. So I had them each decide on a couple things that they wanted as a craft, and then we would get the stuff for that craft, and then we just kind of looked and saw what the other ones were. So Dylan wanted, I don't remember what he wanted. Oh, paracord, to make paracord bracelets or paracord snakes and stuff, or animals. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So we got a bunch of different things of paracord. Jordan wanted to make a hammock this summer. So he was like, I need hammock string and, sailing rope and all this stuff. And so, we were looking for all that and we couldn't find it. But he did find a fabric hammock tutorial where you do use some ripstop fabric and you sew a hammock. And I was like, that sounds great. You could, he knows how to use my sewing machine, and we can kind of work on it together. But then I also had them make a list of activities that they could do, and we typed them out on the computer, and it was things like, some of it's in the house stuff, like bake some cookies, or have a lemonade stand, or some of it was outside of the house, like go bowling, go play frisbee golf, all these other things, just this long list. And then we taped the list to the tote box. So it's like, when you're bored, come and look at this list and, see if there's something on there that you want to do. So they do have some homework for the summer, like some math and some summer reading assignments and stuff. So we did get some books for them. We've got some coloring. We've got, we picked up a needle felting kit. So Dylan my youngest, has always been into the little stuffies. He thought this needle felting was really great. So he said, hey, can we get one of these? So we decided that would be fun. And where's the other one? So, when he got home that day, he wanted to start working on it. Well, we poked ourselves quite a bit in the fingers because we had never done it before. But, you take roving and you just kind of roll it into a loose ball and then just start poking it with this needle. And the tool that came with it has either like a 3 needle setting or a 2 needle setting or a single needle setting. And it's just like a cap, and like a big cap of a pen almost, that's like about this long, and then the needles kind of hang out of it, and you just poke as you go. And you kind of shape and poke and shape and poke. And there was a book that went with it with tutorial, or how to do it. And a little foam pad, because you don't want to poke into your wood or into your leg. So they recommend like a upholstery padding almost, is pretty thick padding, and they have a little block that it sits on, you can use to sit on. So this was the first one that we made, and we all kind of worked on this one together. So there's a little bit of my handiwork in there, and this, so there's the little fox. Then he was like, okay, I want to make the squirrel. So, because it had all these little animals. So then he made, the next morning he got up and he got right into the kit and started making this squirrel. And I had found some roving. I had all this extra little bats of colored roving. So the kit came with a bunch of roving as well. But I had a bunch extra. So I was like, well, you can have it and use it for all your little needle felted animals. So this is his squirrel. And again, I helped a little bit with this one, but not a ton. And then I went to work that day. And when I got home, he had made a mouse and a bunny with a bandana as well. And look, it's got a little tail. And let's see. He'd made a cat. This guy, his head's a little loose, but we could probably just needle felt it, just do some more felting with it, and the head would be on. So he made a cat, and he striped the tail and everything. And he made another squirrel, a yellow one this time. So fun. He's just having a great time with it. I asked him if he wanted to come on the show to talk about, you know, his needle felting, and he thought about it for a minute, but then he says, no, I think I'm a little too shy. So, but he did want me to show those off to you guys, and they're really cute. And I've been looking on Pinterest, and there's so many little needle felting animals that you can do. So I pinned a bunch of things for him so that if he wants, if he goes through all this roving and he wants to do a different project or something, we can move on and do something like that. He was very interested in it and had a really good time, at least for the first couple days. Hopefully he didn't burn himself out on it, but you know, we'll see. So that's all the knitting. I did want to talk a little bit about some giveaways, and I do have a prize winner. So first off, I had the a Taste of Spring Cowl gifted to the podcast to share with you guys, and I had opened up a thread in the Ravelry group, and I pulled a winner using random number generator, and the winner is LDS Venus. I didn't have her name on the Ravelry page, but if that is you, LDS Venus, you are the winner of the Taste of Spring Cowl. I will let the author of that know that you're the winner, and I think I have her name. Hang on. Let's see. It's on my show notes from last time, so let's see. Oh no! Oh no! Those aren't my show notes from last time. Those are another podcast show notes. Okay. I will find it. Let me just pause for just a second, guys, and I will find it for you. Okay, so A Taste of Spring Cowl by Abigail Wright. And I will let Abigail know that you are the winner, and she'll send you off a copy of that pattern. So congratulations. Yay. The next thing I wanted to talk about was I had a shop contact me, an Etsy shop called A Single Strand Studio, contact me and ask if I wanted a donation for the podcast. I thought that was pretty cool. So they are a mother-daughter team, Amber and Carol, and they make beautiful bags. So let me show you what they sent. And the one they sent for you guys is the same as mine, just different fabric. I don't want to unwrap it because it's beautiful, kind of wrapped up like this. It has this lovely little stitch marker. So and their business card and everything. So I don't want to unwrap it because I want to keep it nice and neat. But this is going to be a prize and a giveaway. So I'm going to do that actually today. I'm going to do that just because, you know, that was really generous of them to share that. The what it is it's called a cast-on case. It is a little book kind of looking fabric that has these snaps. You open it up, and inside there's spots for your needles and your like interchangeable or circular needles, double points, little notions, things like that. And it just kind of keeps, so if you need, you know, to carry a couple different needles with you or crochet hooks, you have this great little case, and the flap at the top keeps them from falling out. It's just really lovely. The fabric here is one of their new fabrics. She said, oh my goodness, really? The fabric here is one of their new fabrics that is their Starry Night pattern. So this was gifted to me, as well as a bag, and their bags are just great. Like, this is such a good size, and it has a great handle here. It's a zippered project bag. And let me open it up a little bit and show you the inside. The inside here, it has a little attachment here, as well as, it's just quite big. I can't even show you very well, guys. I'm not doing a good job showing it off. So really great though. Thank you so much, Carol and Amber. I love it. It's awesome. I cannot wait to start using these. So that was really kind of them. So as a prompt for that giveaway, I kind of went through and looked for some like thoughtful, thought-provoking questions, things like that. Oh, yours, the one that you'll be getting is like this, but it is in this lovely macaroon, bright, colorful macaroon patterned fabric. So the question I want you guys to answer for this prompt is, if you had to teach someone one thing, and it can't be knitting, it cannot be knitting because we would all be teaching people to knit. One thing besides knitting, what would you teach them? So that is your question for this week's giveaway. Thank you again to Carol and Amber of A Single Strand Studio. I will put their website here on the bottom, and it will also be in the show notes, which are found on the Ravelry group page, which is, again, Yarn and You Girl Podcast Group, or on the website at yarnandyou.com. And if you are looking for me on the internet, you can find me on Instagram as @yarnandyou and Facebook as Yarn and You, although I'm not very active on Facebook, mostly on Instagram, although I've been a little slow lately. Sorry, guys. So anyway, thank you again so much. I hope you have a great starting day, like start to your summer, and that you guys all make the beautiful things, and we'll see you next time.